Hello, everybody. This is just going to be a really quick discussion, and just because mainly the last couple book reviews have been kind of short, because they've been kind of short books with not much to talk about. So I just kind of wanted to maybe do a compare and contrast of the two biggest e-readers because I don't know about you, but for me, after I hit let's say I'm 21 years old. After I hit about 18, books started being printed in smaller and smaller print that got fuzzy. So I read all my books on ebooks. Let's just say I'm 21. I'm a little bit older than that, but let's just say I am. Um, so at first I started out like everybody does with an Amazon Kindle, and I liked it. I mean, Amazon Kindles are really good reading devices, and over time, Amazon did some things I didn't really agree with, so I started looking for somewhere else to go. And I looked at a Kobo, but the Kobo e-reader ecosystem is. I feel like the store's a little bit too unpopulated with books to buy. So I settled on the Barnes and Noble Nook. Actually, this one right here, if that helps any. It's the Glow Light 4 Plus. I really like it. It's got it's got physical page turning buttons on it, which are really nice. It's got really great resolution on it. So I figured, since I've used both Kindles and Nooks a lot, I could do like a compare and contrast, and because they both have their strengths and weaknesses. So let's take a look at the Kindle first. The Kindle, I would show you my old Kindle, but I can't find it right now because it's somewhere in another room, and it's probably in one of my, drunk in my junk rooms, that I've really got to clean out sometime. But I'm really lazy. Um, Basically, the Nook is great. I can't really complain about the hardware of the Nook. It's relatively fast. It's light. It's thin. It's got really great resolution, and you can read really great on it. I do have to say the Amazon store for buying books is unequaled in its size. It's You can basically, if you can't find a book in the ebook format on Amazon, you're probably not going to find it in ebook format anywhere. But on the other hand, the Amazon Kindle is a Amazon product, and if you've been following the news lately, I'm there talking about any of the political stuff. The thing that made me angry at Amazon with the Nook was when they decided you could no longer export your books that you bought from the Kindle. You can't use them anywhere else, and that really kind of bugged me because I mean, maybe I don't do that much, but I mean, it would be nice. And it seems to me like I bought a book, I should be able to, use it as I please. I should be able to download it and put it on, on somewhere else and all that kind of stuff. And so I decided, like I said, I decided to go looking for a different e-reader. And I settled upon the Barnes and Noble Nook, specifically the Glow Light 4 Plus, which is slightly bigger. It's got the physical page turn buttons. Now on the Barnes and Noble side, surprisingly enough, their ebook selection is slightly weaker than Amazon's. Not by much, but there are sometimes books that I really want to read that I just can't find on the Barnes and Noble ebook online store. Specifically, I've been looking for Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I cannot find that on the Barnes and Noble ebook store. Physically, I can find it really easy, but I can't find it on the ebook store. I'm probably going to have to. I'm probably going to have to rent it from the library and read it on a tablet or something. But that's a different story. Um, and also the other problem is, okay, this thing this thing is getting kind of ancient. Barnes and Noble put this out in 2021, I believe. So it's getting to the point where it's 5-year-old hardware. And I mean, for an ebook reader. I really don't know if you need to have the latest and greatest stuff, but it is slower than a Kindle. It does have some, we'll call them fun quirks. Things like, it really annoys me. I basically got to do a restart of it at least once a week, or in the last couple pages of a book, it'll just freeze up, and then I got to turn it off and turn it back on. Don't ask me why. I've updated the software. I've tried doing everything I can to it. It just has a weird quirk in it. But at the same time, my theory is, all corporations are evil, but maybe Barnes and Noble is slightly less evil than Amazon. But yeah, that's the main differences between the two devices. If I were to make a suggestion to anybody that wanted to just go out and buy a cheap e-reader, probably go out and get a Kindle. I'm not going to think less of you if you use Kindles as opposed to Nooks or Kobos or anything like that. Kindles are very fine e-readers. I can't complain with them. All e-readers at this point have about a 300 pixel per inch thing, so it's not like you're going to get any better or any worse, resolution for reading. And it's just, it's a good all-around e-reader. But if you're like me and you want to get away from Amazon, Barnes and Noble Nook. I guess Barnes and Noble is going to come out with a new e-reader sometime in 2026. They better hurry because there's only about 6 months left as of time of recording. But that's all there. But I mean, I'm hoping that maybe when they come out with the new one, it'll be a little bit faster for page turning, maybe a little bit faster for opening, and maybe get rid of that annoying software quirk. But I mean, if you really don't want to, I mean, like I said, of the other Amazon alternatives, Barnes and Noble is probably the best. It's just because they have the biggest selection of books, and I mean that kind of makes sense. It's Barnes and Noble; they probably should have a pretty good selection of books. I mean that's their entire business. That's not quite as all encompassing as Amazon's, but it's also not exactly it's not. You're going to find books to read there. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's that much of a price difference between the two. I haven't really looked too closely into this, but I know that the glow light that I have goes for about $150, which is kind of pricey for an e-reader, but it's also about the same for a Kindle of the same size. One thing I really do like about this is that the Barnes & Noble Nook does have a slightly larger screen than Kindles do. I mean, I like a larger screen. I like one that kind of matches that larger format paperback size. It's just that's just a personal druther of mine. But I mean, so I just wanted to put up like a quick discussion about these two devices. If you're really thinking about buying one, like I said, if it's your first one, probably Kindles, you can't go wrong. But if you're not looking for Amazon, like the Barnes & Noble is pretty good. So take that for what it's worth. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.